What's up everybody, my name is Marvin, better known as Ven from the TTV channel, which is a YouTube channel hosted by a team of young creative talent. We've worked on this channel for several years, and while a lot has changed, I am happy to say that we have maintained the same passion for building, collecting, and playing with LEGO that we had all those years ago. And we are more than excited to be able to bring all these qualities with us to the LEGO Live event in New York. There we'll be able to show you some of the cool creations we made out of LEGO Boost. So until then, I thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time.
Hello everybody and welcome to Brainstorm, the show where we systematically destroy our reputation in the BIONICLE community by making ideas that people really, really hate. Female Liwa! No. Female Liwa! Hype!
Can you ruin a reputation you never had?
Can we turn everyone into a female? Just all of them. Even the females, turn them into females. Just to be like, we're it's like that, like the Amazons. That's what it is. It's gonna be like Wonder Woman. This is an island and all of them are women.
It's pretty cool, dude. I like that. I like it a lot.
Right.
It's like the, yeah.
Not Wonder just the women, but the women and the women too.
I hate them.
I hate them.
Oh boy. Once again, this is Brainstorm. I'm Var.
I am Meso.
I am John.
And I'm Purple.
This is episode 19.
Let's do this thing.
Man, 19 episodes, guys. And that's not counting the year
Has
that
it
we
only
did
been
on
19
the
episodes?
No, there's
no. We did like another.
There's been
10,
like 50 episodes
15.
of the TTV podcast where it was just like straight BIONICLE G3.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty true.
Back in the golden days, the better days.
I never forget because it started right after the art book. Because
before
of
the Empire. Before the Jedi.
So it was essentially like G2's swan song and then immediately launched in Brainstorm.
I wasn't listening to you.
Duly noted. Too busy dreaming.
Duly noted? Like the Duel of Fates?
Yes, like the Duel of Fates.
Like Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel.
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Empire did nothing wrong. Dude.
Are people saying we're not live? I'm looking at the live stream right now. Like.
Oh, is it still set to private, Var?
Oh, it's no. I said that it set it to private on my end. On my XSplit, it shouldn't have affected John's.
John, is it set to private?
It's set to private.
That's weird.
Var.
Dude, gosh. I changed it on my XSplit. I don't know why it would change it for you.
No, if it's on our XSplit, it sends the settings over to the channel.
Oh, that's stupid.
Yeah. So it's not like my settings are saved. I didn't specify it to be anything. So.
Gotcha.
All right. Is it showing up for everyone now? Is it saved?
I have no idea, dude.
Should we?
I don't know, bro.
Did anyone get a notification?
Every day, bro, with that TTV channel show. Yeah, it's live for me, by the way.
All right.
Yay.
Cool. There we go.
Cool. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, I was saying how Yu-Gi-Oh's got a really cool intro. I also like the One Piece's intro. You know, everybody talks crap about 4Kids, but those intros are great.
Pretty hype intros. I remember Yu-Gi-Oh was the hypest thing in my youth.
Was Yu-Gi-Oh the hypest thing?
Yeah, it was the hypest thing.
Dude, Yu-Gi-Oh
I activate my trap card, Blue Eyes.
I remember
a great white shark dragon. Go.
I remember when the freaking movie came out and like the intro happens and they kind of go over how like Yugi like builds the puzzle and becomes Yami Yugi and everything, and then like boom, the logo plays and everything. It was like the hypest thing ever. I had chills watching that as a kid. Meanwhile, my grandpa next to me was just like, "What is going on?"
I feel like my parents felt that when I was watching the BIONICLE movie. It was like, "Is that Takanuva?" And they're like, "The what? What? Why?"
Who's the Takanuva?
Who's the Takanuva?
Why is he talking so much?
Well, you see, Mom, he was supposed to be a real kid, but then the script changed. Yeah,
he's a real boy.
Wait, he was supposed to be a what now?
Takanuva was supposed to be an actual real-life human child who got transported to the world of BIONICLE, and then became the Seventh Toa. That was like the plot of the Mask of Light originally.
Yeah.
I'm glad some things get revisions and such.
Well, okay, so like we say that
Right.
that idea is really stupid now, right? But like think about the Lego movie and how like that whole concept kind of came into being. Like,
It's similar.
it's like it's really similar, yeah. Like
I mean,
the whole
you could-
universe is trapped inside this like kind of play
I
thing.
will completely say that like the Lego movie pulled it off in a way that I would have never done it. Like I could not imagine doing it, and that's just how skilled Phil Lord and Chris Miller are, is that they made it actually work. I think almost if anyone else, the people that wrote the friggin' Ninjago movie, if they had tried to pull that, would not have come off as great.
The like classrooms worth of people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, all like 40 of them. All right, so today on Brainstorm, we're going to be talking about more script stuff, finally. Return to script stuff. We haven't talked about, like, the story in a good few episodes, it seems.
Good while.
So, it's good to finally get back into that topic. Last week, we had a fan submission from someone on the boards who wrote their own script for episode 3. And at the time, we decided not to talk about it because, well, most of us hadn't read it yet. So we wanted to make sure we all read it so we could give it the proper attention and then come up with some other things ourselves and all that kind of good stuff. So, without further ado, let's delve into this. This was Season 1, Episode 3 script, The Totem, submitted by board user Kaituhi.
I like it.
believe that's how
I think it's pretty.
So this script chronicles the adventures of the Toa after they all meet up and they kind of converse amongst one another. There's some like nice little banter between them all. They decide to split up to search for clues because that always works. In this instance, clues being pieces of the mask of time. And we mostly follow Liwa, Anua, and Tahu on their kind of journey for the thing. They're going towards the archives of Tiro. And they run into some trouble when Lirak shows up. Okay, so sorry about the technical difficulties, guys. Stream decided to like screw up on us. Anyway, we're back now. So back to recounting the script. Is apparently that's where we left off. Essentially, the script is we're following the Toa. They all meet up. They have some banter. Then they split up to go search for the Mask of Time. We follow Liwa, Tahu, and Anua as they travel to the archives in Tiro to retrieve a Mask of Time there, search for more information because the archive has a ton of cool information. On the way, they're attacked by Lirak, and they manage to defeat Lirak momentarily, and the script ends. So that's essentially your recap there. If you guys are interested in reading that, we'll have it linked in the description for you. Anyway, so let's talk about what we liked about the script. Then we'll get into some of the things we changed, because I know there's definitely some things that I would change, and I know John, you would change some things too. So
probably, yeah.
I would change some things, maybe.
I would change your.
I can only remember one thing I would change. Anyway, things we liked.
things
that we liked.
Like?
I liked the character interaction, mostly.
I like the fact that they split up the characters.
A few lines are strange, but how they divided them, yeah. It's cool.
The way that there are a couple lines that I would, just like in terms of like rewording or just some context stuff they shouldn't like. No, sorry. You're right. I like that they split the characters up into the pair, or like they had character interactions that would later on become the pairs they split up into, kind of building that interaction. I like the pacing of this episode, although it is a very dialogue-heavy episode. There are some good physical comedy moments, and like just stuff that goes on that makes it still interesting to watch.
Like there was one part where like Pohatu is like holding a frozen archaeologist or something, and he's talking, and he just like pauses and is like, "Hey, hold this," and he just like hands her to Anua and then keeps talking.
I like that scene too. Pohatu also keeps knocking the archaeologist over too early on in the script. I thought that was really funny.
Then he just like leans her against something.
Poor Harvali.
Poor Harvali.
I liked how we got Liwa versus Onua for a split second.
We did build that up a little bit.
I didn't even realize that.
You're
right,
moment.
we totally did.
No, yeah, like I was yeah. Good point.
Nice. Okay. I liked so initially when we had I had conceptualized this script, I had never imagined we would do any Aruni subplots in this episode just yet. In the next episode or whatever. But I do like that the flashback is sort of hinted at in this episode. We kind of we get a bit of a snippet of that at the start.
Right.
But we don't get the whole thing, and obviously that will be continued in the next episode. But I liked that we kind of started that off here. It's good.
Yeah.
Another thing I liked, which I said off air, unfortunately, repeat myself, but the totem I thought was actually a pretty good like visual thing to tie the present narrative with the past narrative. But that was pretty cleverly done. Something that kind of transcends both there. It was a good idea. So I liked that inclusion a lot.
I can't wait to see the totem MacGuffin.
One thing I was
destroyed,
wondering.
So
Yeah.
The one thing I was wondering about the totem is that in this script, they flash back to where Vizuna finds a totem, and when he finds it again, it's in the same place. And does that actually happen for the Mask of Time? Because I remember thinking that like it would have the mass fragments would have like returned to, or not returned, but like they would have gone back to one of the places that and the reason that they're spread out in the island and I don't know if we had talked about this before in the podcast or not, was like the part of the rewind thing. So like whenever the totem had been, it would just rewind to one of those places.
But it's just a totem. It's not the mask fragment.
Or is it?
Wait,
no,
they're the same thing, aren't they?
I don't believe it is.
No, I think the totems were like
the totem was a thing.
Kanayan culture thing.
It was a Kanayan culture thing. They had like stolen it from some person or whatever. It was just a little like totem thing, and it shattered at the end of this episode. It broke. It wasn't a mask fragment.
Fair enough.
It was just like a little like statue thing.
I think when I wrote them before, when I wrote it before, I used the word totem interchangeably with the mask fragment. So fair enough. My bad. I used some different terminology.
Totem.
You used the word totem for the mask fragment.
I don't think that word means what you think it does.
Maybe I'm thinking of something else. Guys, I woke up half an hour ago. So great episode. Let's go. All right, I apologize for taking time out of the episode. Then. Let's keep going.
Okay. It's cool. Totem. Hold on, I'm gonna look up the definition of totem real quick. Maybe I don't know what it means. Natural object or animal believed to be a particular society of spiritual significance and adopted by its emblem. By as an emblem. Okay.
That there's different things of totem. Like in Inception, they have totems. Remember that like the spinning top is a totem, and the rook that falls down a certain way is a totem.
Yeah, that was like a symbol of something that represents something. That's why they called it a totem. So that actually matches with the kind of classical definition of what a totem is.
Additionally, if a Matoran named Tim becomes a Toa, then he's Toa Tim.
All right.
Shut up, dude.
Good grief.
Shut up. Are you just serious right now?
Never forget Toa Tim.
He was a Toa Stephen Jake, right? He's one of those guys.
That's what I thought like was being described. It's like that, but small, like a tiny little like handheld one. But it's like
the one from Brother Bear.
Yeah. It's like a little carving or like a little like just kind of statue thing, but tiny.
Oh, those are giant statues though. That's a different type of totem. There's some totems that are like small.
I know that's giant.
That's a giant.
What I'm saying is I imagined that but smaller.
Like that?
Yeah, exactly, like that. Like a little carving, a little statue.
Okay, all right, you're right. Oh, hold up.
Like Lego construction totems.
Yeah, just like a little like kind of keepsake from Kanai that they had. They just kind of stole from someone.
That they stole from someone. That's fair. Okay, and that actually ties into the thing. I must have been confused while reading that. I apologize. All right.
Anyway, but at the end of the episode, it shattered, so it doesn't really matter. But, yeah. So I like the totem and its inclusion, and I kind of like how it was narratively used to tie the past and present together. I thought it was a clever idea. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else we really liked about it? I think overall I like the structure of it. From like going from the past and back to the present, where the Toa are kind of there together, and then they split off.
Basically, what we had intended to do.
Yeah.
So
I think there was one thing. Well, we haven't gotten into what we would change yet. Never mind. But
I mean, if we don't have anything else to say, you can
we can start that. Go for it. Perfect.
Okay. I can't remember specifically when it happens, like if it happens before commercial break or not. But there is one part where it's like focusing on Tahu and Onua and Liwa and all that, and then it cuts to Gali and Pohatu or whatever, and they're like looking out at the forest, wondering if everything's okay, and then it immediately goes back to Onua and all them. I don't know if there's a commercial break in between then, because like if there is, then that kind of works for me, but if not, then it just feels weird to have like that scene with Gali.
I did feel like the pacing between some of the interactions were a little too fast.
They were.
Where like the dialogue kind of jumped to conclusions, I want to say, almost. Where like the characters are saying things that I don't think they would have naturally said at this point in time.
Or they're talking about things that they don't know about each other either.
Yeah.
So right now I'm looking at a point where like Gali's talking about like Mengai and what's going on with it. Gali, as far as I know, isn't like, because Naho is so closed off up to this point, Gali should not know anything about other politics outside of like rumors and stuff. And the thing that what happened.
Yeah, the weird thing is this episode kind of sets up all the Toas that they all kind of are already aware about the situation between Ihu and Mengai, but I feel like word would not have spread that quickly.
Yeah. There's this one line I feel like kind of puts it into perspective. Like, everybody knows about the war. Everybody, in detail. But then Gali has a line that says, "I've heard of the desert city of Motara."
Right.
Like, I've heard it exists. Maybe? Does it actually exist?
Well, I mean, I get where she's saying, though. Like, she's saying that, like, I've heard of these places. I've never been there because, you know, Naho is separated from everywhere else.
No,
so I get why she said that.
Yeah, but she's saying it like it's a legend, and yet she knows specific details about the war, which hasn't started
exactly.
yet.
No, I totally get that. It's like if X is like, "Oh, I'm from Norway," and I'm like, "Oh, I've heard about Norway." Like, what? What do you mean you've heard of? It exists.
Is it true that it's cold there?
Well,
and also, how do we feel about that line? Is it true they worship thieves and killers? That might be a little too extreme.
Yeah, I think that's fine because
it's fine.
But here's why. Here's my reasoning why. Naho is a place where worship is a very big part of their culture. So for Gali, when she when she hears that things are important in Motara, she's like, obviously they must worship them because that's where the culture she comes from. Everyone worships something. They must worship thieves and killers. My change would not be to Gali's line. It would be to Pohatu's when he's like, Pohatu's kind of like, kind of. I think Pohatu would be like, well, that's a little far. I wouldn't say worship, but like something along those lines where he's like, maybe not like worship, but I mean, it is a lawless place, something like that. I don't write that down. That sounded terrible. I'm just have that sentiment. Yeah, write it better.
I mean, I did feel like the dialogue, while it is kind of conveying the right beats, I do feel like it's a little clunky in a lot of places.
Right.
So
I was true of the original script. My original script too. I felt the dialogue was clunky in a lot of places. We need to go through and rewrite that as well. But
yeah, another thing that I specifically tied to the dialogue that I didn't quite enjoy was I feel like there was too much emphasis on really honing in on the fact that Liwa is younger than everyone else. Because if I were to
really angsty in this one.
Well, no, I think Liwa being angsty is fine. Liwa acting immature is fine. For me, it was the dialogue that specifically stated how old she was compared to other people. Like, Tahu would be like, how old is she?
How young?
Or how young is she?
Yeah,
right? I would cut that line entirely. I don't like that line. Also, there's like,
old man.
Yeah, Liwa's calling Onua old man, and Onua's calling her young girl.
Ground me.
Yeah, exactly. Ground me. The dialogue like that was a bit too heavy-handed. I felt like
I get that.
We get the idea that she's young, and I think we should be showing that she's young through her actions, as you know, being sort of reckless and immature. Not so much that she's saying things that would imply she's young.
I could see like on behalf of Yeah, I totally get that. I would say on behalf of Tahu, he could have a line where he's like she's just a kid, or he's like he's like kind of like this. Everyone he's dismissing her or anything like that's when he brings it up.
Dismissive, call her kid. That's fine.
But this whole thing where he's like, how young is she? How old is she?
Yeah, we don't need that line.
Yeah, I got you. We'll rewrite that. Right. Most of this dialogue was admittedly like I was like this is pretty good. This is pretty serviceable. But then there's other parts that are a lot clunkier. Or my big thing here is that characters know a lot of stuff that they shouldn't know about the other characters. And it's very clearly like he's trying to work in stuff from the story Bible, which I appreciate, and I'm glad he paid a lot of attention to that. But some of the stuff that the story Bible knows, not all of our characters know, and you have to think about what do our characters know versus what we know as people making the story.
Writers. Right.
Gali should not be as well. Gali, out of all of them, should be the least informed about what's going on. She is the Nahuans are culturally keep to themselves. They might have heard of things going on, possibly, and maybe some conflicts. Like she might know that the Ice and Fire kingdoms don't like each other. That could have filtered down to her, but the specifics that King Matoran has died, probably not.
Mm-hmm. If anything, the only other two, because obviously Tahu and Kopaka would know about the situation. Yeah. The only two I could see that might know about it would be Liwa and Anua. Liwa specifically because Kanai is kind of all over the region, so they've got connections. And
right, and they're messengers and that kind of thing. The gossip would spread there. I would say Anua.
Tira, I would say just because they're really knowledgeable about things, they probably like to retain information and stuff, so they could probably, and they're also right next to Kanai as well.
Onua would be the most informed about everything going on politically, I feel. Like in terms of like he would be in the know about most things going on. It seems like something it's something like someone his age kind of focuses on. Like think of how many of your parents are like know about politics and they follow politics in that sense, and kids are just kind of like we don't care. It would be something as Tira as a peace-loving nation would also be concerned about is the status of peace and the rest of the island. So Pohatu's a athlete. He doesn't care.
Yeah, Pohatu wouldn't know about it. Gali wouldn't know about it. Cool.
It's just a day after it happened too, and everything's frozen as soon as it happens. So
yeah. Also, the war hasn't started yet. There is no war yet.
Yeah, the Civil War only starts. It escalates in a year too, but there's no war yet. Everyone's still deciding what's going on. Yeah, because
we left the island in a state of this just happened. This event just happened. So we don't. There's no reaction to it just yet.
There's been a day since the King Matoro died, and as far as everyone is concerned, after that day, everyone was frozen because that night is when they used the Mask of Time.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. Some other things. So I like the inclusion of Aruni, sort of hinting towards that relationship a bit more. I do feel like the dialogue where like Lyrax shows up and says "Hey Viz" should be cut. I feel like that's a little too.
Hey Viz.
It's a little too obvious, and also I would like to keep the reveal a little more. I don't know. I feel like we haven't earned that reveal just yet through the script alone. It should be something that she's kind of like wondering about at the end of this episode. It shouldn't be confirmed by the end of this episode.
What if he says something kind of like "nice seeing you again," or something like where he drops again or hints towards like seeing her before?
Yeah, that works. I also think it should be like there should be more emphasis on the fact that they didn't like it's. There should be like some kind of like line of dialogue where they're like it can talk or something because they don't realize it's a person. They think it's a Rahi.
It's true
at first.
Yeah.
That could be a good inclusion to have there.
We are just like kept you waiting, huh?
Yeah. I also did kind of feel because I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I also kind of felt like Aruni and Vizuna towards the start were a bit more romantic than I thought.
There were definitely
their friendship would be.
Undertones were a little too much like overtone.
Yeah, because like they're like kind of like hugging out, watching like the romantic candle lights fall down, and it's a nice scene. But I do feel like it's a bit more romantic than I would have written it.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on like if you want this. the angle of we could have that romance angle, but I feel like shoving the one, just like immediately pushing out on the audience is a little too much. I feel like we should. I'm not opposed to something.
This part because I feel like it should definitely be a bit more undertone-ish, where it's like if you're gonna go that angle, it's fine, but I feel like it should be more of a hint towards something bigger than it is immediately confirmed. At least not in this script. If we're gonna do the full the full flashback, yeah, that's what I was looking for. For the next episode, then you can do it there. But I don't know. I feel like here it's another thing where it just feels kind of undeserved at the moment.
Yeah.
Where it narratively it fits better.
Doesn't particularly inform or add to anything in particular.
Yeah, exactly. Because the information that we just need right now is that Mizuna has a friend and they stole some things together and cool. There's a bit of kanai culture. We can get into the nitty gritty of their relationship in the next episode.
Right. That's yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
We're all on the same page, everybody. Nice.
All on the same page.
Nice.
Other than that, the other thing that I remember wondering about was, okay, so in this script, actually the question is, do the Toa know that Makuta is the end game of the Rocky plan right now?
I don't think so. Point. No, they actually don't. I wouldn't say that. I do think it was very convenient. Not like, yeah. The Elemental Lords never mentioned Makuta, and I would say that the Elemental Lords don't exactly. Well, I guess. Never mind. They might know what they're up to.
I would think that the Elemental Lords would know, but that doesn't necessarily mean they need to give every bit of information to the Toa, especially if it's not necessary. Like assuming that the Toa were able to complete their goal.
The rock correctly. The threat here.
Makuta then Makuta would never even be a problem.
Set the goalpost a little too far forward.
Yeah. Because I did think it was kind of strange that they were talking about how the Makuta is like there and like they know that this is the spot where he is at and like he's been locked here and that we need to find the mask. And I was like, wait, do they know this?
Is it common? I don't know.
They seem pretty nonchalant about the fact that Makuta's resting place is right there, especially considering they didn't realize Makuta was a real thing to begin with.
Right. It's all still legend. It's all still like, yeah.
It's like carved into a cave wall. Makuta is here with like a snake.
Makuta's real. He's resting right there.
Oh. Okay. We gotta be quiet so we don't wake him up.
Yeah.
It's kind of like if we went to like Brick Fair or whatever. And we were just like, all right, guys, so we know that Anubis, the god of death, is resting beneath this building here. So let's just be careful when we go inside and try not to awaken him. And we just say that nonchalantly. Like a matter of fact. You got the one guy who's like, did he just say Anubis?
Did I hear that right?
Yes, Autumn, you heard it right.
Of course you heard it right. It's Anubis, dude. What's wrong?
Right. It's like, come on, the god of death. This is everyone. It's a tourist attraction. Everyone comes here.
Everyone knows about
Anubis. Look, yeah. One day he's gonna come back, maybe if we collect all the, the pharaoh fragments or whatever.
All the golden totems.
Pharaoh fragments.
Pharaoh.
Yeah, if we just sacrifice 4 sheep, it'll come back.
He'll come back and.
That's it? Only 4?
Only
long ago. Anubis and Ra.
Oh, it's just Anubis. Come on.
Yeah. These 2 sheep.
Yeah, and like he'll kill us and lay our hearts, and then we'll decide who gets to go to the afterlife, whatever that's called.
But yeah, so. That's another thing I would change. So I definitely think I like the overall structure of this. I like some of the inclusions like the totem, and I like setting up a Rooney a little bit early on. I would definitely change a bit of the dialogue. I'd get rid of the mention of Makuta. Maybe tone down some of the wordplay here a little bit so it's not as obvious and on the nose about certain elements that you're trying to incorporate here. But overall, I think the script is pretty good.
Same. I'm scrolling through and trying to find some other instances where I feel like they are going to they're going a bit too fast. I feel like you can cut out some of the stuff relating to Makuta, and then show a bit more of deduction when it comes to the mask fragments. They seem to figure that out pretty quickly. That there's like 6 of them and they need to find them. I'm not sure how else to rewrite that, but like they.
Yeah, I also did feel like Tahu. So Tahu is an interesting character. I think he needs to be written with a certain level of what's the word?
Tact?
Tact. Yeah, maybe that's kind of what I'm thinking. Where it's like, okay, so we know the character is quick to anger. That's fine. But I feel like when most people write Tahu, whether it's this project or any other project, any kind of fan fiction I've read, people tend to write Tahu a bit too angry, and
like
it's almost like too
core thing, right?
Yeah, where anger is his core thing, and that's not how I would write him. I would do it a bit more. I don't know, like he's quick to agitate, but I feel like here in this script there are several points where like he's immediately shouting at everyone for something that one person said, and he's got like a giant flame sword that's going off. Right. And, like Kopaka has to cool it down, and he's just like yelling,
"If you dare!"
Yeah, talk if you dare. He's like threatening the other people. I'm like, that's a little too. It's going a little too angry. That's not how I would do it.
It is a thing with Tahu where he is he is hot tempered, but it doesn't mean he's unlikable or mean. And this one, he has almost no likable moments. And that is, as he's going to be one of the main characters of the main characters. He does need to be written more with a bit more tact. Granted, we have seen him for an episode, like 2 episodes, basically, an intro episode. So we understand where he's coming from a bit more. But we do need to still write him as someone that people do feel that they could get behind eventually. And someone who is like... Yeah. I understand him getting angry when Onua kind of goads about the whole thing with like, when like Tahu kind of insults Tiro and then Onua fires back. I can see like Tahu getting a bit mad about that because it was like it's more of a personal thing that Onua doesn't know about in terms of like Onua knows about the fact, she doesn't know that Tahu is the one that personally caused it.
Right.
But there's other instances where he's just kind of like unlikable,
like where they're talking about how they need to find the mask or whatever, and he's like, "Oh, it's just decoration for a wall or something like that." And then like we're like, "Okay, but let's just kind of find it anyway." And he's just like, "No, that's stupid," and he's just kind of having a tantrum, you know?
Yeah,
it's just like that's a little too angry for something that's not really worth being mad about.
Trait to me is his impulsive nature. It's not his anger. It's fast.
He's impulsive, and that's the major thing. And he's quick to agitate, I think, is a better way to put it. Because I feel like anger, when people think anger, they immediately think the extreme, like really mad raging. But that's not what I'm thinking of here when it comes to his anger. So he could definitely get that way, especially if he's goated. But it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I totally feel
he has 2 tantrums in this script, and like
G3
one moment.
Sorry.
He has 2 tantrums and like one moment where he's actually like kind of chill and cool, and that's when like Onua has been like hurt, and he's kind of comforting Liwa a little bit too. He's like, "Don't worry, kid, we'll get him to the archives." That's a good scene. I like that. So more of that, less of that stupid rage.
Yeah, it's like you gotta save the rage moments for when things are actually intense. Otherwise, it won't have as much like meaning or effect or whatever.
Var, can we make a new series? G3 Tahu reacts to internet trolls.
That
man
would actually be a kind of a funny idea. It's kind of like the Kylo Ren reacting things.
Essentially, yeah.
Oh yeah, like emo Kylo Ren, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's actually not a bad idea at all. I actually kind of like it. Yeah.
Cool. All right. So I guess that's pretty much it for this the script then. Does anyone else have any final things they want to say about it?
I got some stuff.
No.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I was waiting for us to talk about it. There's some other things I wanted to discuss, but
sure, go for it.
That's cool. All right, I'm scrolling through down and like picking parts I had with the script. One of the things that there's several lines where characters know a bit too much about the other characters that they haven't said. There's one point where Golly is talking about going to places, and Onu is like, oh, it'll be all new for you. And she's like, all new isn't bad. That's another one of those things Golly has not said up to now that she has no idea what's going on. She's implied that she actually does. So there is no reason for Onu to be like, hey, this is going to be all new for you. It's going to be a whole new experience for you. That's not like...
through her dialogue, we've kind of been given the opposite of that.
Right. So she needs to be a bit more naive and not know what's going on. I think that the Motara line she has with Pohatu still works with the character. I think it's the other lines where she's talking about what goes on. The
Matoran line actually works really well because it actually kind of plays into that naivete. Is that how it is?
Naivete.
Yeah. Okay. Because like it's almost like, oh, she's heard this really negative thing about this place, and she's just like, oh yeah, I heard that place is filled with like murderers and stuff. To the guy that lives there, you know? Right. Imagine having a conversation with a real person like that.
Awkward.
No, I mean it sounds like something that like someone who was raised in her aspect where we are the better people. We're the only pure people, and everyone else has fallen away from the one true religion. And I don't know, it sounds very similar to what she would say. There's a part where she makes a bad joke, which I actually really liked, where she was like, "Oh, you look like a carrot that saw Takia," and she like starts laughing at herself.
Yeah, and he's just like,
yeah. Well, I actually added a line where like Hadi's like, I don't know what any of those things are. They're fish. I live in the desert. I don't know. You just said words to me. So I think that could have been a...
Dude, we should actually think of, like, legitimately good jokes for her to say that just no one would understand.
Right. And then, like...
That would actually be really cool. We're just like, okay. But, like, if you were to somehow translate what everything she's saying is, it'd actually be kind of funny.
Love it.
He goes through, says the fire guy, it's okay. I'm gonna rewritten that a little bit. I don't know why. I just something about that line. It's not even a bad line. It's just something about it. I'm like, this part when Wahatu's like not getting that it's Tahu. I feel like it's taking a little too long to come to that whole deal.
Wait.
So right after she says like, oh, you look like carrot so Takia, and then she goes, anyways, why didn't you? And Wahatu's like, the fire guy.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. I was just scrolling out.
I actually wasn't sure what that part was referring to, so...
I think, like, Tahu pushes him earlier.
Okay.
Trying to find it. And then that's, like, Golly's like, hey, how come you didn't do anything when he pushed you? And Fahadu's like, I play the equivalent of football here, so, not really scared by it.
Not really a fighter.
Yeah.
Or scared by a push, yeah.
I do like one thing I really liked earlier on is that Tahu expects everything to unfreeze for a bit because he saw the bear doing it and it doesn't happen, and he's kind of like, all right, guys, just wait. Yeah. I was like, oh, that's perfect. That is playing into what that character knows and what he would do in that situation. So that's great, and it's the audience also doesn't know that things don't unfreeze either. So it's playing, it's playing into the mystery that the audience doesn't know. Very good scene. Let's see. I would say that there's a point now where Golly mentions the way none of us know our real names, as that's like a... I don't know how I feel about that line. I do understand that that's going to tie into a thing later on where we are trying to reinforce that these characters have other names, so when we do the flashbacks, then we kind of like get that deal. But at the same time, I don't know.
Yeah.
Leela's a little too... She's a little too, like, rebellious kid as opposed to, like... Well, I guess she doesn't really have a reason to be happy-go-lucky. Does she?
Not really.
We pitched it as, like, that's how she copes with stuff, is that, like, she's kind of, like...
It was always, like, her kind of go-lucky rebellious attitude is more of just a kind of a facade, really. Just to sort of ignore the problems.
Right, and like they go away.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't know, like, because she is going to have a tonal shift eventually where she turns into a bit more of the traditional Leela, where she's like cracking jokes and she's doing this kind of thing. This might be too much of a shift going from emo Leela to jokester Leela. Going on, because like right now, I can see why this is making sense right now. Eventually these characters are going to turn into the characters that we know from G1. So, all right.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely feel like Lewa's characterization in this episode could use a bit more tweaking, for sure. So.
Yeah. I like the thing when Tahu was talking about Mengai and Tiro, although I feel it's a little direct. I think like he could be a bit more like when Tahu's like, you don't know the history between Mengai and Tiro. It's like straight up, like almost like an exposition. It's like it's carrying into.
You don't know the history.
You don't know the history. Have I ever told you the tale of Mengai and Tiro, the allies? I do like the thing where he's like, they are warriors, like they got soft. I feel like he could make a dig at Onua, where Onua was like, oh, the Mangaians will stand knowing about them, you know, like Onua was explaining why the Mangaians had never shared anything with him, and Tahi's like, well, you guys used to think the same way before you got soft. Then like it could be like what, and they could be like they were allies once, yada yada. Now here's the thing.
A long time ago,
Onua directly tries. Onua actually tries to goad Tahu past this point, and I think that's outside of Onua's character. When he's
I did too. Okay, cool.
Right? Yeah.
I thought so. I thought that was a little weird too.
It's a little weird that like Onua's like, well, you know who's really dumb? The Mangaians, because they can't have peace. I do think that Onua could like, instead of like, it feels like it's just the way he phrases it. He's like, Leela, you want to know what thinking with your fists gets you? Or he get a bit more like, well, has it really worked out between you and the Ihuans? Like that could be a bit more of like a question, like, hey, you know, like, yeah, sure, you might not.
It should be more. But, like, it should be more of Onua kind of pointing out the flaw in his logic,
right?
Kind of like explaining to him why it doesn't work, and Tahu kind of just not facing the facts. Not wanting to hear it, yeah.
And it could come to a point where like he gets the flame thing. He's like, I don't want to hear any more of this. We're done. As opposed to throwing another tantrum.
That actually works more towards him actually being angry, not just kind of him throwing a tantrum over some like goading, which he should be above.
I mean, Onua could be a bit more vague. He's like, I hear that, you know, that even when they're treated like peace could have been there, the Mangaians couldn't let it lie. Or they couldn't let peace talks play out, and then Tahu's like, I don't want to hear any more of this. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Alrighty.
But I said shut up. Kind of going a little too far. Feel like there should be just
shut up.
I don't think he needs to yell. He just needs to be like, I'm done with this conversation in the sense, like, you know, rework that line however you want.
He needs to shut it down. Yeah,
but I do like the idea that like
let's move on.
Like that something is on fire. You know, like either his sword, maybe his eyes are glowing, or just something to indicate that he is serious.
He's angry.
I think that's fine. But like if he's like yelling and it's like shut up, and then like the fire comes out of his ears, it's a little too far. I'm not making fun of the script. In the script, he's acting like the fire only comes out of his fingertips. I'm just kind of like exaggerating for comedy. You did a good job, dude. What's the name of the guy who?
Do they have ears?
They don't. They have ears in the sense that they can hear. Yeah, but they don't have like ears the way we do. They have like little speakers.
Indeed.
Instead of
the dude's name was Kaituhi.
Okay. I think Tahu saying "get away, you freak," a little like.
That's not very nice.
He's so angry.
Shut up,
get
you
away,
freak.
you freak. Get away, you freak.
Tahu ain't got no chill in this episode.
No, Tahu is savage. He's burning everybody.
He's savage AF. He's pulling it. He's part of the low gang.
Savage as frogs.
I don't think
savage as frogs.
I don't think that Tahu should be like that thing Niu. I called you Viz at the end. We already kind of touched upon this, but I feel like that's giving. Yeah, it's the reveal. We haven't earned that reveal yet. We should earn that reveal at the end of the next episode after the flashback. We should hint towards it, definitely. And I think people that are smart are going to catch the reveal anyways. The same way that, like, in Ninjago, we have, like, theorized about certain people in the latest season. But,
exactly.
Yeah.
I also don't think Lirak should be defeated in this episode either. As much as Lirak should be a continuing presence,
right?
In the sense that maybe he backs off, or maybe he makes his presence known in this episode, and then the Toa are on edge going into the next episode, as they're walking around knowing that there's this creature out there somewhere. or like maybe Lewa attacks them, steals. You thought the totem was the mask fragment, like maybe he steals the totem or something, and that's important, or something like that, where his presence is still felt going into the next episode, so that once we get to the flashback and we learn that Aruni is Lirak, that reveal actually means more. It's more impactful because that character's still around and a threat.
Where are they exactly? Like in the
I don't know.
Where are they?
It seems like they're in Kanai because Lewa finds the totem that
so they're in,
she had before.
Aren't they? Isn't Kanai in the sky? How did they get up there?
Well, they're below Kanai. I guess they're technically in Tiro.
Presumably the totem like fell off.
Yeah, because the totem fell.
Man,
yeah, it fell down a waterfall.
Is it like, I don't know? Is there some way to like, because that totem fell off like 10 years ago or something? You know, like, or like, it's fell off a good while ago. How do we not make that so contrived that they're able to find this one? Can you imagine if you drop something off the Empire State Building, and then like 5 years later, you're just walking around and you find it again? Like, think about how unlikely that is from a...
Well, it fell towards like a ceremonial waterfall kind of thing, where like they were like all like dumping candles into this waterfall down the river.
Oh, okay, all right, that's not too bad, I guess.
Yeah, like they didn't just drop it in a random place.
Right. All right. If it all collects somewhere, then that's
like it went down a waterfall down the river. I'm assuming into this area where they're at, because she finds all the candles too.
I would say that what they find out about Makuta being sealed with a mask, that they do not find that until they reach the archive. I do like one thing that he establishes the locations they're going to. So they're going to the other villages, the other elemental, like the other nations basically, and then they're going to meet up at the end at the archive in Tiro. And the archive is when they should find the stuff, the carving and the stuff about Makuta being sealed with a mask. I think that
is where they said they were meeting, right? The archive.
Yeah, it is what this. I think so. The archive Maximus, right? If not, well, that's where they should meet at the end, because I think that would be the place to find this stuff.
Okay, so why did they split up? Where did Kopaka, Gali, and Poatu go?
They are going to Ihu.
Okay, yeah, they went to Ihu, and then Tahu, Lewa, and Onua. Where were they going prior to the archives?
That's a good question. They might have been going to at the end. Onua's like, meet us at the archive. They might be going somewhere.
Onua's freaking lazy, man. He's just like, all right, we're gonna go to the archives. You go wherever. Meet us at the archives. You come to us.
They should go to like they should go to Motara or something. They should do the archive should be like their last thing.
Do we want them traveling all around the island before they meet back up again?
They have to. All the mask fragments are in different parts of the island.
I guess that's true. I just didn't realize they're gonna all find the mask fragments separated.
Yeah, and I had intended for them to be in a group of 6.
They're not. They're not going to find all of them separated. They're only going to find 2 of them separated. One is going to go Ihu, one's going to go to Motara. They're going to come back, unite for Tiro, and then the last one that you're going to have to find is in Naho, because like only Dolly knows that area. No one else has ever been there. That's where the monster shows up. Remember the monster that was in Dolly's backstory is going to show up. Yeah, right. And so that's where they're going to find the last 2 fragments as one. The Mangaian fragment, doesn't Tahu have that? Or are they? No, they go back to find that.
No, yeah, because Tahu didn't get it. But that's how he knows that it's there.
Yeah.
Right.
Is because the beast was unfreezing.
Maybe they should...
Actually, yeah, there's a bit of a flaw here. Because, like, why wouldn't... How do they know to go back? Or how do they know that unfreezing equals that's where the mask fragment is? And why wouldn't they go back there first?
Yeah, no, that is a flaw in that reasoning.
Or would they go to this? Would they go to Motara, discover that was the key to it?
When we initially pitched that, I imagined this would be the first mask fragment they would find, and that would be there too.
That was the intention of that
tutorial level in a video game. It's like do that, and then you know where to go next.
Yeah, in fact, we're actually splitting up too soon. I think they haven't even gotten the first fragment yet, or did they? What happened? No, this is episode 3. Yeah, they haven't gotten it yet.
So here's what I'm thinking. This might actually be a big... Oh, man, I feel bad for this guy. This might actually have to be a big beer, right? Because part of this thing...
No.
I do like this thing. I think it does fit in what we could this almost feels like a better thing for the 4th episode, right? Like, the 3rd episode should be them going back to find the first fragment and then being ambushed by Lyrak, and then they go to Kane.
Then they split up.
Then they get then one gets Motara, one gets Ihu. They meet up at Tiro, and then they go to Naho.
Yeah,
that should be the outline that we have.
It looks like this might actually be a big rewrite for this episode. Because
man,
that's
no,
I thought it was just gonna be tiny stuff. I'm sorry, dude.
This far in.
I mean, most of it works. Most of it
50
works.
minutes in.
For, like...
We just realized the script doesn't work.
We've been close to the sun.
No, I mean, like, I think a lot of this stuff, it's not going to be, like, thrown or anything. This is going to be very helpful in getting episode 4 done. Because it is basically going to be this structure. The only thing is that instead of, like, we're going to cut out parts of the stuff that...
Then we actually can have Lyrak steal the fragment like you wanted.
Right. And we could also have the flashbacks be a bit more fleshed out here.
Yeah.
Because it is going to be Leela's flashback episode in episode 4.
Yep. Makes a lot more sense. And that continues having Lyrak being that presence that I was talking about.
Yeah, and Lyrak would show up at the end of this new episode 3 where they go back, they find the fragment. We might, depending on how long the episode is, because they might not be all based around finding the fragment. They might do something else there. They might make their way to Kane, have part of this episode, and we'd have to see how that paces out when that script is written. If we write out the scene where they go back to where Tahu finds the unfrozen thing and they fight Lyrak a little bit and they get that fragment. If that scene isn't long enough to have a whole episode, we might add a bit at the end there.
Well, back to the drawing board.
All right.
Well, that was not episode 3 since it's going to have to be rewritten.
Feels bad.
Fade to black.
Fade to black. But that was a good little kind of, I guess, warm up to get us kind of back into the idea of writing the story, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I want to say again, as much we critiqued this because we liked it so much, I have to give credit to Kaituhi. It is a very hard thing to write a script. I'm very happy you did it. I hope that you can, like, take some of this, the critique and some of the stuff we had and kind of, if you want to rework it, that would be fantastic. Or we could, kind of work our own thing. If anyone else wants to write a script, please do so. We're more than open to, like, critiquing those, talking about them, talking through, like, the whole thing. If you're an aspiring writer and you want to hear other people talk about your work, which is one of the hardest things to get as a aspiring writer sometimes, this might be how you do it. Just a thought.
Wink, wink.
Wink, wink.
Wink, nudge,
nudge, nudge.
All right. Well,
was there anything else we wanted to briefly mention in the last few minutes, or no?
There's one set that we can just kind of point out real quick, while we wrap up. So, there were a couple of other sets, but they were all pretty small. This is, I think, one definitely worth talking about, though. It is the G3 Civil War concept Attack on Motara by Crowan.
Ooh.
Yeah, this is a pretty small set. It's definitely kind of a sort of beginner set idea here. It's mostly Rahi based, and $25 to $28 is the estimated price.
Probably $25. Why doesn't really do $28 in pricing? So
they said it wasn't quite big enough to be a $30 set. So there's that. Definitely like the Rahi. I think it's really freaking cool. Once again, using those traditional Bionicle elements, really loving that. Really nice design. I do believe that the structure that it comes with is a little plain, but at the same time, I think it's small enough that it works, and it does seem like something Lego would probably do.
Yeah.
It has, like, the little minifig tower with, like, the banner going down on it.
Yeah. So it totally works. Especially at the price tag. I think really you'd be wanting to buy this for that Rahi. So
I saw his real life version of the set, and that actually looks kind of cool too.
Yeah, it does. It's really nice.
Yeah.
So I like it. It's really cool. So I just felt like putting that one out.
Can confirm.
See.
Would buy.
Would buy, to be honest, like I would buy pretty much 100% of all the sets that people have pitched so far.
I talked to some Lego fans the other day, and they were like, they're also like, you know what? They were not into Bionicle at all. But they're looking at this thing, and the one thing that they said, which I'm glad that other people saw it too, was like, yeah, this doesn't look like any other theme that Lego's doing right now. It does look unique, and it does look like, you know, stuff. And there's some cool builds that they would buy. I was like, that's.
I love the pillars in the set, the stone pillars, and
really, yeah, it's really cool.
The turret cannon of the Bionicle blades.
It's actually interesting that Lego isn't doing more system creatures.
Yeah, it is.
It's not something that they typically do, and I find that fascinating because it seems like it's an easy thing to do.
They only did animals, like actual animals, in the later waves, and they only ever did like 5 of them. It was always vehicles and stuff.
You'd think they'd be doing more of that because we got like the cool dragons, but we never get anything past that. So all right. Anyway, all right. Well, that's basically wow. That's basically going to wrap up this episode of Brainstorm. I didn't actually think we'd be able to carry the entire episode reading the script, but we did, so nice.
I like it. I like it lots.
I like it lots. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you're interested in writing your own scripts or pitching your own ideas towards the Brainstorm project, head over to our message boards at board.ttvchannel.com. Make an account, make a topic, go to the BrickFeed section. That's where all the other stuff is, and you can find all the other ideas to kind of inspire you, or just post your own thing. All works there. Story Bible is also there as well. So if anyone's interested in reading up on that, it's not done, hasn't been proofread at all. It's really bad. If you were to read it out loud, it'd probably make you laugh, but it's there if you need the information. So that's why that's there. Also, be sure to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/the TTV channel. You can donate to us to help support the show, help support the channel, and you can tune in for our live studio audience here on Patreon, where you can comment on the video itself.
All right.
I'm Var.
I'm Meso.
I'm John.
And I'm Purple.
And this has been Brainstorm. We will see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.